Greetings, and welcome back to the MCOC Encyclopedia. Recently, Seatin put out a video looking at Colossus auto-farming Labyrinth of Legends, and I wanted to have a go at it myself. Now, before anyone's already on their way down to the comments to say, you're stealing content or whatever, I've got Seatin's permission to post this, so it's all cool. Anywho, Seatin in his follow-up video focused on a few fights, but the three I want to have a look at today is Magik, which cost him a couple of revives, Venom, which didn't, but the aggressive AI is interesting, and Maestro, the boss, who not only has twice as much health as everyone else, but is significantly more annoying. Now, the team Seatin was using was, I believe, Omega Red, Emma Frost, Juggernaut, and Professor X, which is certainly a good team for Colossus, but I think there's a couple of extra tricks we can take advantage of, which means this might be possible. So far, the AI that we've had for Colossus has been phenomenal in this fight, and I must very much emphasise that AI variance in this game is absolutely massive. Now, one of the problems Seatin had was from Magik's Special 3, which dealt a lot of damage because it nullifies all buffs on you and deals extra damage for each buff. But if you'll notice, she didn't nullify any of my buffs, and she barely dealt any damage. We have on our team White Magneto, which gives Colossus 65% resistance to all nullify and stagger effects. Therefore, we got a little bit lucky, but 65 was still, 1 in 3 failure rate, so, 2 out of 3 successes, and we managed to avoid taking a whole bunch of extra damage. Now, the Colossus AI here has pretty much given up, but let's hope he comes back in a bit. There we go, nice Special 2. That is the second point that I came across. Hitting the damage cap with Colossus is very, very easy in Labyrinth. So running Omega Red and Emma Frost and Juggernaut all to increase that damage, I consider a little unnecessary. The team I'm running is still Professor X, but for slightly different reasons. Apocalypse for Horseman, Omega Red for some damage to make sure we do hit that damage cap, and White Magneto. Let's go through our synergies, or at least the important ones. First up, Professor X, by himself, gives all mutants 25% extra special damage for every charge he has, and I have ramped up the Professor X. This is not can Colossus solo every fight in Labyrinth, it's can Colossus solo these fights in particular. So yes, we ramped up Professor X on Red Hulk, Elektra, and Captain Marvel, and we ramped up Apocalypse on Old Man Logan, because he's a mutant, you can do one fight. But before I can even explain what's going on, Colossus finishes out this Magik with 62% health remaining. That's quite impressive. So Professor X by himself is giving us 100% extra special damage because he's got 4 charges, 25% per charge. With White Magneto, he's also providing us that shield, which is the sort of very dark blue icon that's currently at 83. At the start of the fight, we gain our shield, and it takes a lot of damage for us. It's a bit like Invisible Woman's shield. It doesn't come back, but it means we can take a lot of damage at the start of the fight. And, this Venom's on 81% health, and we were still on full before we took recoil damage. Because, yes, I am running recoils in this video. With recoils, Professor X, Horseman, and the boost we're running, and Omega Red, it's pretty easy to hit that damage cap. Very easy on the Special 2, and pretty easy on your sort of light and medium crits as well. So that's what I've done. I don't believe the Juggernaut is really important. And Emma Frost provides extra power gain per armor, which is nice when you're playing Colossus. But watching back Seatin's video, a lot of the time his Colossus was just getting pushed to Special 3 rather than having a good opportunity to throw the Special 2. Now this is a detriment against Maestro because Maestro has power gain when you're using a mutant against him. And so actually it would be very nice to have that extra power gain to try and cycle more Special 2s, but we'll get to Maestro when we get to Maestro. I believe Seatin was also running the Mr. Sinister relic, which is fine, but Colossus isn't going to benefit hugely from it because he's bleed immune. So instead I'm running the Gambit relic. This gives Colossus extra crit chance on his Special 2, and whilst his non-crits are hitting the damage cap now, right at the start of the fight it can help a bit as well. It also provides physical resistance, which doesn't do a huge amount, but also critical resistance, which does quite a lot. If you notice the damage we're taking, particularly when we get to Maestro before his Furies kick in, essentially the only damage we're taking is from critical hits, because Colossus' armor rating is so high that we are taking damage on the order of... Okay, here comes a special 2. Every hit of that was, 400 to start with, and then 200 afterwards. That is basically nothing. Because Colossus has a synergy with Professor X that at 4 charges gives us about 72%, I think, poison resistance. And that poison from recoils is on us the entire fight, meaning we are healing 210 per tick for the entire fight. So taking a combo which, say, comes out to about 2,000 damage because we weren't crit at all, means we barely take any damage. I actually watched this Venom fight back. We take more damage from recoils in this fight than we do from Venom. And actually, if we sort of ended the fight here, we'd finish it with nearly 80% health, and Venom's basically dead. Unfortunately, the Colossus AI at this point just kind of gives up and doesn't do very much, and we get hit by quite a lot. But realistically, again, AI variance involved. I would say Colossus could do this fight at 80% health. If he just threw his special attacks such that they, didn't just eat a whole bunch of recoil damage. If we had more team slots, I think it's the Red Guardian synergy that gives Colossus unblockable special 1s as long as you've got at least 5 armors, which he pretty much always does. On top of this, Colossus is a Horseman, which not only gives him an unstoppable the first time you hit him, and a prowess, which is, we're going to hit the damage cap anyway, but by the by. The most important thing I think about the Horseman is the extra ability accuracy that comes in. Why would you throw your relic like that, Colossus? Really? The extra ability accuracy that comes from it means you gain more armors off your special 2. 70% health finish. Let's move on to the big boy himself, Maestro. So there's the unstoppable triggering already. So on your special 2, every armor up has a 50% chance to be doubled. So we've got 6 right now. I would expect 8, 9, or 10. That's sort of how it works. Once those armors, those are non-permanent ones, the signature ability on Colossus gives a chance for all non-permanent armors to become permanent armors once they expire. But again, it's only a chance, meaning more ability accuracy means just more armors over the course of the fight. We've also got the White Magneto pre-fight in this fight, and yes, Colossus managed to just parry Maestro. I was actually considering twice turning off the parry mastery because who's going to use it? But this Colossus right now is absolutely crushing it. But yes, he does actually parry him, and I needed 5 out of 5 limber as well in case we get stunned. So far, this Maestro fight is going phenomenally. Colossus has basically got him locked in the corner, but things are going to start to go downhill. Remember, this Maestro has 3.3 million health, and we're running on auto farm. But if you look right now, Maestro is pretty good at applying debuffs to us, and after that special 3, we were regenerating for 1,200 per tick, or 1,110 if we include the damage. That's a lot of damage. It really is. Oh, sorry, a lot of healing. We are still, despite taking a lot of hits and some special 1s, still a very, very healthy amount of health. That makes sense, healthy amount of health. But you can also see, based on what I said against Venom, we've only got 12 armors right now, which is still quite a few. But Maestro's non-crit attacks are doing 260, and his special 1 was having hits for less than 100. Colossus is regenerating basically all non-critical damage we are taking. And all we have to worry about is a bit of recoil. I think that's a worthy trade-off, because it also means we're more likely to hit our damage caps. No crits on that special 2, still a lot of damage. Now, the beginning of the Maestro fight isn't too bad. Also, 5 out of 5 stand your ground, phenomenal mastery. You can see that our non-crits are doing about 8,000 damage, and our crits are dealing 50,000 damage. So critting is really important in this fight. Now, as I said, the start of the fight isn't too bad, but the lower Maestro's health gets, the more precisions, which means more crit chance, and more furies, which means more damage he gets. And actually, they don't mean very much. Yes, the precisions are bad, but it's by the by. The furies actually aren't too bad either, because we've got so much armor. The problem comes from the furies affecting his damage over time on the special 1. You can see it was about 400 at the start of the fight, and with just 2 furies, it's now 1,000. Which means when he has 16 furies, it ticks for over 5,000. That is where we'll be losing most of our health from. If the Maestro didn't have that damage over time, this would be a fairly easy fight to auto-fight. Long, for sure, but pretty easy. It also goes through block, and I don't trust Colossus to dex it. Although we do actually have 1 point in dex as well. We're also running Inequity, which is what gives giving the weakness on Maestro. I don't actually have that unlocked on my main account, so I had to unlock it specially on the Content Creator Beta. So all we need now is some good AI from Colossus and to not get absolutely walloped. If we hit into Maestro's block, this will also drain our power, and this is where I said I was slightly missing the Emma Frost synergy, but even with that taken into account, we're still getting pushed to Special 3 a lot. Special 3 caps out at 50,000 damage, Special 2 caps out at 200,000 damage. So, much rather do that, though we do take recoil from the Special 2, so trade-off. Big Special 2 from Maestro, we take a grand total of about 1,000 damage, and given the debuff that he put on us from that, we've probably already healed it back. So pushing Maestro to Special 2s is really important. Taking Special 1s like this on the block, really not. Does 14 damage on the block? Sure, but the damage over time is really important. Running 5 out of 5 Limber is also really important for this fight, because if we do ever get stunned from the Special 1, we can recover from it before Maestro comes in, and actually Colossus is pretty good at intercepting it. So far we are 82 to 29. Colossus is doing a phenomenal job holding his own. Though that degen, he's got to 6 Furies now, 800 per tick. Things are really starting to hurt. Maestro, got to push him to that Special 2, but unfortunately he is quite trigger happy on the Special 1. Again, we take so little damage, but he's now up to 1600 per tick. Colossus going for another Special 3. One of the reasons Maestro really isn't critting so much is after the Special 3, you can see it applies an indefinite, fatigue passive to Maestro, which is reducing his crit rate, and you can see it's reducing his crit rate by a lot. There were no crits on that Special 1 at all, despite the fact that Maestro has 17 critical up chances. I don't think he can crit him at all, actually, on specials. Very, very good. Colossus also gains his passive armor, which lets him go unstoppable whilst blocking, but AI Colossus isn't taking much advantage of it. 4 resists in a row, though, stand your ground being an excellent mastery. Really, we are just a few Special 2s from closing out this fight, but we are only a couple of his Special 1s away from getting absolutely walloped, and Colossus seems to have lost the Special 2 button. However, we do have another problem that is coming in, and that is the little skull icon below Maestro, the Enrage. If that goes around once, Maestro gains a massive upgrade to basically all of his stats. If it goes around twice, you pretty much die instantly. He gains massive power gain and unstoppable, unblockable. It's awful. So if it goes around once, we're basically screwed. And we're not far off. He's got to 16 Furies now, and that damage over time is still up at 1400 per tick. Once we get him down to, I think, 10%, he gains even more Furies. So he's down to 11% now, and if he gains too many Furies, that damage over time is just going to be monster. There it is. He's up to 36 Furies now. Luckily, Colossus has managed to push him to that Special 2, but even with all our damage mitigation, that was still about a 10,000 damage Special 2. You can see Maestro, even through all of our armor, is now doing a huge amount of damage in his basics. We need to end this fight now, Colossus. Now, Colossus. The Enrage is about to go round as well. This is about as close as we're going to get. Throw the Special 2. Very cheeky Special 2 intercept. And Colossus does indeed manage to solo Autofight Labyrinth Maestro with nearly half health left, though 1 or 2 Special 1s and all of that health would have been drained away. This fight was much closer than it looked. So, there you have it. Colossus can indeed solo on Autofight, one of the nastiest fights in all of Labyrinth of Legends. If you have any questions, please do leave them down in the comments below, and consider joining the Discord server linked in the description. A great place to get specific advice, make suggestions for future video topics, and while I'm awake, I do my best to be there as much as possible. Thank you, and I will see you next time.